Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we have a 2013 Honda Civic Si. The customer's concern is that the red brake light comes on and the VSC light comes on intermittently, and they've also been having to add brake fluid to it. They say they don't see anything leaking on the ground, but let's get into it. So we don't have any warning lights on at the moment. If you look, our brake fluid level is it's in the safe zone, so that's fine. We did hook up the scan tool to it just out of curiosity, and we do have a code for a brake fluid level switch malfunction. This is a history code, but you would assume that it's working because we don't have a warning light, and also because if you go into data, it says somewhat comically that brake fluid is enough. So for the time being, we are going to ignore that. There may be a problem there, but if the fluid level was going down below that switch more than what it expected to be, I would think that that code would pop up. So for the time being, we're going to ignore it. Let's see if we can't locate a brake leak somewhere. So here we are at the left rear caliper. We can see that obviously this thing's got some brake fluid dripping from it. So the rest of them look fine. I think that this is going to be our culprit here. So let's put a caliper on it. We'll start by taking our tire off, 19 millimeters, and possibly a wheel lock key. To get started, we're going to pinch off our brake line here, just so we're not puking brake fluid all over the place. And then we'll get taking this the fitting for the brake line off. It is a 14 millimeter. There will be brass washers on either side. Now your caliper should come with them, but keep track of them just in case they don't. But this banjo bolt will have on either side, we'll have one brass washer on the top and then another one at the bottom. So the parking brake cable mounts to a bracket that has two 12s on it. We'll take those off. And that should, in theory, give us enough room to be able to wiggle that hook off of that, or this loop off of this hook. You have to kind of start the bottom of it into this notch right here, and then you'll twist it that way to pop it off. So our new caliper came with a new bracket and slide pins and everything, which is going to make this a little bit easier. In order to get that whole assembly off, there's a 14 here and another one that is right there. We'll go ahead and get those off. So always double check and make sure that your parts are the same. The biggest thing to remember with calipers is that you want the bleed screw to be kind of the highest point on the caliper. So ours are all the same. So since our caliper is devoid of any hardware in it, we're actually going to put it back in slightly different than how we took it out. We're going to take these 14s off of the slide pins. So this is what your hardware is going to end up looking like when it's all said and done, installed. And this part, it goes up through, it kind of bounces around, but once we get it in the car, it'll be all right. So let's go ahead and get this caliper bracket back on. Now we'll go ahead and get our pads in. You want the squealers, the wear indicators, to be on the inside. And since this rotor turns in this direction, in theory, this is going to be the first thing that it hits, so that should give you the earliest wear indication. Now we'll go ahead and throw our caliper on. You want to make sure that this this piston has a is vertical here, because that's going to coincide with this little notch right here that's on the brake pad. We'll go ahead and get our brake hose, brake line back on. So the one washer, brass washer's on top. Then we'll put our other brass washer on the bottom. We've talked about it before, but I think it's illegal for aftermarket parts to use the same sizes for anything. So whereas this was a 14 before, it is now a 12. These bolts are 14s, just like the OE ones, but this one's a 12. Now we'll get working on putting our parking brake cable back on. We'll go ahead and take our vice grips off of the brake line, and we will crack this bleeder open and start getting it gravity bleeding on its own. That'll help us in the long run. So we're getting some fluid out now from our gravity bleeding. We'll go ahead and close this bleeder off and get ready to bleed it again. We're not totally out of the woods just yet. So I'm flying today's mission solo, which means that
I'm the captain now.
I'm going to have to figure out a way to get these brakes bled out by myself. If you were a long-time viewer of the channel, one of the P1s as they call them, you'll recognize this setup that we have here. This is our one-way bleeder valve that I got hooked up to the bleed screw. So just holler at me whenever we stop getting air out. All right, looks good to me. So we got all the air bled out of it. We took it for a test drive. Everything feels good. We topped our fluid back off, and everything is back to normal. We went ahead and deleted that DTC that was in it, that 6511, so that in the event that something else happens, we'll at least be starting off with a clean slate. But I have a feeling that probably resolved that issue. All in all, this job is not that bad. It's something that you can easily do even by yourself. I just did it by myself and filmed it and narrated it and then later edited it. But anyway, parts rundown. That part was roughly like 120 bucks. Figure another 15 or so for brake fluid. It's going to take you about an hour to do it. So it's not that big a deal. It's pretty easy to do. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully we earned a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comments section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.